It's been almost 2 years, but the big day is almost here. The final season of Game of Thrones starts in just a couple of days.
Welcome to Plain English, the podcast that goes at the right speed for English language learners. Listen now and read the transcript online at plainenglish.com. Now, here's Jeff, your host for today's episode.
Let me just say up front, I don't watch Game of Thrones. Don't hold it against me, but I did have some help writing this episode, and that was from JR, who is a Game of Thrones fan extraordinaire. And there will be no spoilers. I won't talk about the plot or what happens or anything like that. But we will talk about this mega hit show and how crazy people are over the final season, which starts on Sunday. Thanks for joining us for Plain English. Here we are together again, right? This is episode 145, so you can find the transcript online at plainenglish.com/145. I think I promised a Japan-themed episode for today, but JR put his foot down and said we had to do Game of Thrones today since the finale starts on Sunday. So we'll do the new era and new emperor of Japan on Monday's episode. As you all know, Plain English is a great program for practicing and learning English. We have new episodes every Monday and Thursday, and the full transcript, like I mentioned, is always available for free online at plainenglish.com. Before we get started on today's main content, I wanted to let you all know, all you Game of Thrones fans out there, that there are a lot of George R.R. Martin novels, including the books that formed the basis for the TV show Game of Thrones. All these books are available on Audible as audiobooks. So if you just can't get enough of the show, you can listen to the books. I'll tell you a little more about them later, but if you just can't wait, head over to plainenglish.com/book, read the details of how to sign up for your trial, and start browsing the options. The international hit drama Game of Thrones is about to enter its final season. After waiting 1 year and 8 months, fans will finally get to see how the series concludes. The show is an adaptation of a series of fantasy novels from the 1990s called A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. The fantasy series has garnered a wide following both in the United States and abroad. It's a fantasy novel, a fantasy story set in medieval times on 2 fictional continents, Westeros and Essos. The main conflicts are between noble families, each vying for control of the Iron Throne or independence from ruling families. Everyone wants to be the king or queen of the land called the Seven Kingdoms. And viewers take sides. JR is rooting for someone with a really long title. I'll tell you who JR is rooting for, but I'm warning you in advance, I don't know what this means, and I had to practice it in order to get it right. We'll see how close I come. He's rooting for Daenerys Targaryen, whose full name is Daenerys Stormborn of the House of Targaryen, first of her name, the Unburnt, Queen of the Andals and the First Men, Khaleesi of the Great Grass Sea, whatever that means, Breaker of Chains, and Mother of Dragons. That's a mouthful. That's her title. Whatever it means, that's who JR likes to be on the Iron Throne. Game of Thrones includes its own fictional language called Dothraki, which has 3,000 words in it. In addition to comical titles, the show is high on battles, political intrigue, and complicated characters. There's also a lot of death. JR's advice is not to get too attached to any one character because chances are that character is going to die. The show has received 47 Primetime Emmy Awards, more than any other television drama. Game of Thrones has a cult following. That means the people who like it, they love it. There's no such thing as being indifferent about Game of Thrones. You either like it or you don't watch it. The fans, including JR, are extremely devoted to the show. Like I said, I've never heard of anyone who just watches Game of Thrones once in a while. Among the people who are enthusiastic fans are ex-U.S. President Barack Obama, the singer Madonna, Prince William, Tom Brady, the Super Bowl winning quarterback Tom Brady, and Jay-Z, who even bought a dragon egg for his wife Beyonce. How romantic. In the U.S., there are Game of Thrones theme nights at stadiums, and right here in Chicago, there's even a bar that is turning itself into Westeros. At Replay in Lincoln Park, there's a dragon, the drinks are on fire, and there's even a replica of the Iron Throne. One brewery in New York State created a whole series of special craft beers inspired by the show. So if you're in the States, you can look for a beer called King in the North, another one called Queen of the Seven Kingdoms from Omegang Brewery in upstate New York. Last year, a hotel made of ice in Finland. Yes, there is a hotel made of ice. Well, that hotel worked with HBO to create Game of Thrones hotel rooms. People have even named their children after Game of Thrones characters. Some people are crazy for this show. The season that begins on Sunday will be the 8th and final season. Fans have been waiting a year and 8 months since the conclusion of Season 7. The head of programming for HBO, Casey Bloys, said that the showrunners had a very specific vision for how long the series would go on, and that vision is coming to a close. He joked that he would want another 10 seasons for HBO, but the show's creators wanted to stop after 8. There will be only 6 episodes in this final season, but that doesn't mean fans will be lacking for content. The first 2 episodes will be just under an hour each, but the final 4 episodes will be about an hour and 20 minutes each, almost the equivalent of a full movie 4 weeks in a row. HBO has been extremely tight-lipped about the final season. That's because last year they suffered a hack and some footage leaked on the internet before it aired. An anonymous user on Reddit leaked details of the entire plot of Season 7. Most of what leaked turned out to be accurate. So this year, they're not taking any chances. They have only released a few promotional images of the show, still images, no footage. One image shows a dragon's face fused onto the Iron Throne. Another shows all the characters as corpses lying half buried in the snow. Like I said, no footage, just those two still images have been released by HBO. Producers have been so paranoid that they have taken extreme measures to keep the plot and the ending a secret. HBO said that they filmed multiple endings to the series. They didn't want to take any chances that the true ending would leak out before the show airs. So they made multiple endings, and even the show's actors don't know which ending is the real one. They'll have to wait until they watch it on TV like everyone else. Security on set was extremely tight. They were not taking any chances with scripts being left around on set. Instead, the actors did their final read-through of their lines on super secure apps on their phones, which one person described as triple locked. There were reports that paparazzi, celebrity photographers, were everywhere trying to get a view into what was happening when Game of Thrones was filming. To throw them off, the creators went so far as to film fake scenes. I mentioned that I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I can't pretend to give you my opinion about what will happen, but we do know there will be a big battle scene. That's pretty obvious to all Game of Thrones fans. There's always a big battle scene. In one of them, the cast reportedly spent 55 nights shooting the scene outdoors and then spent weeks more filming parts of it in a studio. Here are some more facts about the season in no particular order. Filming started in October 2017 and ended in July 2018, so they spent almost a full year filming it. The budget was $15 million per episode. Season 2 cost just $6 million per episode to make. All the episodes have an adult content warning, except the first one. The calm before the storm, one writer suggested. There is already talk of a spin-off. HBO confirmed that they are working on a pilot for a prequel to Game of Thrones, and if they accept it, that series would take place before the War of the Five Kings. HBO has said that the prequel won't be on screens for a long time. Good thing Game of Thrones fans are used to waiting long periods in between seasons. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The final season of Game of Thrones starts at 9 o'clock New York time on Sunday night, April 14th on HBO, and will conclude on Sunday, May 19th. You've heard me mention Audible before. That's the company that has all the audiobooks, which you can find at plainenglish.com/book, B-O-O-K. I went on the website just to see if there was any Game of Thrones content on there. I had no idea that George R.R. Martin had written so many books. So not only can you get the original book, called A Game of Thrones, but you can also get the others in the Song of Fire and Ice series. A Clash of Kings, Fire and Blood, A Storm of Swords, and on and on. And these are not short books either. A Storm of Swords is 47 hours and 37 minutes when it's read out loud as an audiobook. And many of you might like to listen in English, but these books are also available in Spanish and German too. So if you're into Game of Thrones and want to listen to one of the books, just sign up for a free trial of Audible by going to plainenglish.com/book. In your first free month, you'll get one audiobook to keep forever for free. After your first month, if you want to remain as a subscriber, you'll get one additional audiobook every month. So check it out, plainenglish.com/book. Tight-lipped. That's today's phrase. Think back to how you heard it the first time. HBO is being extremely tight-lipped about what happens in Season 8 of Game of Thrones. They're not saying anything. No clues, no hints, no advanced footage, no leaks, no gossip, no nothing. They're being tight-lipped. They're not saying anything. You remember last season they suffered a leak that spoiled the anticipation for all the fans, so HBO isn't taking any chances this year. When you want to say that someone is not revealing any details, when that person is keeping a secret, even if you really want to know something, that person, if they're not saying anything, that person is being tight-lipped. It's common for police to be tight-lipped when they are investigating a crime. They don't want the public to know all the details of the investigation until it is complete. Police are often described as being tight-lipped. Businesses, too. If a company is planning a big product release, they are often tight-lipped until the big announcement. Apple is famously tight-lipped. They don't release any details of upcoming products until they have a big official announcement. Some celebrities can be tight-lipped about their personal lives. They don't want people to know what's going on in their personal lives off camera. Other celebrities are loose-lipped. That's the opposite, loose-lipped. They want everyone to know all the details. They want to be in the gossip magazines. They want to be talked about for good or bad. They think if they're loose-lipped, if they overshare, then they can stay in the public eye. The royal family is famously tight-lipped. Although they are constantly the subject of gossip and speculation, the British royal family prefers to be tight-lipped about personal matters. They take great care to cultivate their public image. When they say something public, it's very deliberative. This is funny. There's a politician in the United States, Joe Biden. He is famously loose-lipped. He can't keep a secret. He was vice president when Barack Obama was president. And at least once he was on a talk show and accidentally announced a new policy that wasn't public yet. He was caught swearing on a live microphone at a very formal government event. Anyway, There are a lot of people here who are running for president in 2020, hoping to beat Donald Trump when he is up for re-election. Officially, Joe Biden is not one of them. He has not announced that he's a candidate, and in public, he has always said that he's undecided, not sure if he wants to run. Then in one speech, he described himself as the most progressive person running for president. Oops. Then he caught himself and backtracked. Talk about loose-lipped. He couldn't keep his own candidacy a secret. All right, that's all for today. All you Game of Thrones fans, enjoy yourselves Sunday night. JR will be watching with you. I will be watching baseball. And on Monday, if you find yourself in need of your Game of Thrones fix, then go to plainenglish.com/book, B-O-O-K, and search for the George R.R. Martin books. Remember, your first book is free, and that can be up to 47 hours of Game of Thrones audio for free. That's the equivalent of a full work week of audio. And if you like it, you can remain a subscriber and get up to one book a month after that. plainenglish.com/book. Oh, quick hi to a few listeners. Reginald from Malaysia, Wanda from Florida, Moshi from Israel, Israel from Brazil, and Ivan from Brazil. Thank you for your notes. See you all on Monday.